Okay. Um, I'm back again. You get you a double header today if you really rocking with your boy. Um, this right here. Some things don't catch me off guard, and all year I've been hearing, "Oh yeah, Grand Theft Auto coming out this year. Grand Theft Auto coming out this year. Grand Theft Auto coming out this year." And we did get some cool looking trailers. We got some impressive looking trailers. If you haven't seen the trailer, just go watch it. They're everywhere. And we've seen some like leaked gameplay, and I got some opinions. I think the first thing is like, stop believing what these video game companies are telling you. Like, there's only a few developers that I trust in. Kojima probably being at the top of the list. That's the guy who made Metal Gear Solid and Death Stranding. But when they said Grand Theft Auto was coming out in 2025, it just wasn't enough signs to let me believe that. One of the biggest things that's going to let me know if something's coming out is when that pre-order link drop. We are all the way in May. Once we got through the first couple months of the year and we weren't getting any pre-order links, we weren't getting any more like new updated content, like gameplay reviews, like gameplay reviewers aren't getting a hold of no beta copies to test out. I'm like, it's real quiet over there at Rockstar. And one of the things I'm gonna highlight later in this video is how long they just been milking the cow when it comes to Grand Theft Auto 5. But it's a similar theory I got with like PlayStation 2. Sometimes you got the best product out and you can really just milk that for the long run, and you also get like this crazy amount of loyalty with that. And like Grand Theft Auto is just one of those series. Like, I probably only know one person personally that has finished Grand Theft Auto 5 like story mode. And they finished the regular story mode, and when it came out in first person, they finished it in first person. I don't know anybody else that's finished Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, for what it's worth, it's like Sims with guns in cars. So it's like, I see why people would want to play it. Online mods have definitely made it more popular to where you can make the cars realistic. People having gang wars, people setting up servers, but that requires a lot of technical data. That requires you to go buy a PC. A lot of people aren't into that. So it's like, some people just want to buy a PlayStation, buy the game, play it, knock an hour out or two of their free time, have a little fun, shoot some, race some, and then be up out of there. There's a different market when you start adding in mods and changing levels around to where you got the new bins and the new Audi and stuff like that. So it's like, sure enough, we get hit with this, and they actually like wrote us a little letter. Let me pull up let me pull up the letter for you. Let me pull up the letter. Hold on real quick. Let me get you right. They actually wrote a small letter and was like, "We're sorry, this shit not coming out." Let me see. Let me just go to the website because they put it on their website. Boom, Rockstar. Bow. Here's what they wrote the fans. Hi everyone. It is now set to release on May 26, 2026. And don't believe that. I wouldn't believe it. They just dropped a new PlayStation. They got the PlayStation Pro out there. So, when did PlayStation come out? I want to say PlayStation 5 came out during the pandemic because we were still on lockdown. So, the system's already 5 years old. At 2026, that puts it at 6 years old. We got a PlayStation Pro, which is $700. That's gonna have to come down to $500 because that's gonna have to be the new norm. But we're about midway through the PlayStation cycle at this point. Let me scroll up a little bit. Um, so it's like, we're sorry this is later than when you expected. The interest is excitement surrounding Grand Theft Auto and it's humbling. They know they got to get this right. This isn't 2013. Like, people can make good games now. So it's like, if you paid attention to the Cyberpunk release, like, Cyberpunk was set to be that new GTA killer, quote unquote. And my personal opinion, Cyberpunk is a really good game. Like if you had it on PC when it dropped, great. If you stuck with it through the updates and you're just now getting into it now, it's a great game. It doesn't have some of the depth as far as like what you can do outside of just like the mission. Like there's not like you can't just go and live. It isn't like Sims. It's still more of like a first person shooter that you can drive around in. There's minimal extracurricular things that you can do. I think that's where Grand Theft Auto 5, excuse me, really started to shine. Really, they got San Andreas is when it started to shine. You can go to the gym, you can go eat food, you can go change your clothes. It really started getting a little bit more personal. But for them to hit us with the delayed in 2026 is crazy for most people. But for me, I think that I anticipated this, and I'm just gonna have to be patient. Why do I say that? Because when you go back and think about Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in 2013. So think about, some of the gamers that are like some of the gamers was kids in 2013. Like probably wasn't even playing it when it first came out. People also forget that Grand Theft Auto 5 sold 1 billion in revenue in the first 3 days of release because they released it on all systems. But one thing I can say about Grand Theft Auto is Grand Theft Auto really transformed how games get updates, like free updates. So when you see like a game like Destiny, get a 10-year lifespan and it's able to receive these updates and receive new content for free that you don't have to pay for. Like Grand Theft Auto really made this popular. If you go, and I'll just run you through a little history, since 2013, Grand Theft Auto has had 44 updates, and these are mostly free updates, with a catch, which I'll get into that. So to kind of walk you through, like in 2013, you kind of just had some regular updates. You might have some new pistols, or you might have job editor. You might have different online ways to play, some little holiday gifts. 2014, they kind of kept the same format. You might have some new cars, some new skins, some new weapons, nothing too crazy. But I'm gonna show you where they lost me. In 2015, 10 years ago, they brought out Heist. Heist was terrible. The reason why Heist was terrible because of the technology at the time. Like if you were trying to like match make and get in with the team with Heist, literally it would probably take 30 minutes for you to get like with a team to be able to do the mission, just because there's fluctuations with internet speed. The systems that the games were on weren't too powerful because we didn't have the new systems at that point. We had the original systems that the games were released on. So you're like your PS4, your Xbox One X, things like that. So then, they had lowriders, which introduced like some new customization. You got the Benny's Original Works, where you could go and trick out your car and do wide body kits and stuff like that. But this update right here, this is what changed the game. The GTA Online executives and other criminals, this is where they lost me. This is when they brought out the yachts. When they brought out the yachts, first of all, for you to buy a yacht, this specific yacht right here, the Aquarius yacht, the in-game money that you needed to purchase this yacht was $8 million. If you didn't have a lot of money online, there was a lot of grinding that you had to do to be able to get that. Or you could buy you a shark card, with real money to spend fake money to buy this yacht. And then you could also launch missions from the yacht. That was kind of like, the whole spill from that. So, they pretty much lost me here in 2015. I wasn't about to be grinding it out for money because like I already told you, when Heist came out, it would take you like 30 minutes to just match make. So, I mean, you probably spent like 2-3 hours just trying to do a heist. So it's like, unless you had some people that you was like personally running heists with, like you wasn't gonna be able to run the bag up. So since you wasn't running the bag up, and there wasn't a good way to run the bag up. The only thing that you could really do to get these yachts was spend your real money to get a shark card of fake money so you could spend 8 million in-game dollars to get you a yacht. And essentially, one update they made people poor in a game. Like, it's crazy. So I've always kept up with the updates. I haven't played them, but I do have friends that play online. They primarily play online to the point to where it's like you're not even like they never even play the actual game, like the actual original game. Primarily I would say majority of the people who play Grand Theft Auto right now is just online players. So you got 2016. You might have seen a lot of commercials like finance and felony. Let's see, bikers. And they'll steal from real world stuff, import, export. And I would say the online world is probably massive at this point. Gun running, smugglers run was a big deal. Doomsday heist. That's when you were able to get the Doomsday. That's when they changed the maps around and you could buy those little bunkers and things like that. 2018. After hours, that's when you could buy a club, I believe. Yeah, they introduced nightclubs, and you could buy nightclubs at the time. You can go in, have a DJ. Like that part was pretty crazy. Arena War, I don't know if that was a big hit for them. 2019 wasn't doing too much. That's when you could buy the casino. You had the casino and resort with the heist. Keep in mind, this is prior, like 2019, I would say the hype was dying down. There wasn't a lot of response with the casino, but this is also 2019, so this is right before the pandemic, right before things, started getting, turned back up. Now, keep in mind, 2020 hit, we all on lockdown. And then also too, 2020 PS5 comes out. So what's the only thing that you can do? Play video games. So you have Los Santos Summer Special that opened up some new things, and then you had a heist. Nothing too crazy there. Kind of a slow year. PS5 was in high demand, pretty much sold out everywhere. Couldn't get your hands on it. 2021, they ramped that thing back up. You had the tuners. This was a big like Need for Speed style update. You had Car Cruise, Car Meets. That was a big deal. Then you had the contract. Dr. Dre was in this. They were updating, updating music, updating radio stations. You can go in. That's when people started realizing, like, oh, my new song is on Grand Theft Auto. It was becoming a living, breathing thing. And then they start ramping up again. Criminal Enterprises, that was a big one. Drug War, I don't know if that was a big one. Criminal Enterprises was 2023. They had Mercenaries. I don't know if Chop Shop was a big deal. And then 2024, you might have seen some advertisement for Bounty Hunter and then Agents of Sabotage. So they've theoretically for 12 years been getting their money's worth through the online portion of Grand Theft Auto. So if you were gonna play Grand Theft Auto, you could technically play it right now. Like, it's probably great online. You're not gonna have those new graphics and things like that from what you saw in the trailer. But the core game that you're gonna play is probably gonna be the same. If you haven't played Red Dead Redemption yet, you probably need to run through that. That's pretty good as well. Pretty high reviewed. But when you're thinking about like why it's taking them so long to put out the game, one, the pressure is massive for it to be successful. On top of that, the budget for it, I hear, is insane. Like, it's $1 billion budget around Grand Theft Auto 6. And they got the money because, if keep in mind, like I said, GTA 5, they did $1 billion in revenue in 3 days. So it's like, so far estimated, 200 million units worldwide, pretty much probably around $9 billion, give or take $9 or $10 billion in revenue. It's like they're not going to be so quick to drop out of this format because they're making so much money on it. Like, if you're thinking about like gaming or media, it's probably made more money than anything that's ever come out ever. if you start diving around and doing the research for it. Um, so with that being said, I'm not holding my tongue for Grand Theft Auto. They say 2026. That could also be delayed. And hopefully, Rockstar Games, they're a good development team. They've delivered in everything they've released in the last 20 years. So I don't have a doubt that the game is going to be good. But I do think they're going to take their time. And I'm not going to be taking release dates for a grain of salt. Like 2025, I knew that was a wash. 2026 could be a wash too, because like, yes, it's coming May 26th, but for me, that would mean like the pre-orders coming May 26th, because like, why wouldn't you want to release it closer to holiday, unless you're trying to like, get your early adopters in the summer, and then the pressure of it, the pressure of the success of the game drives more sales in the holiday season. I'm not sure the route that they want to take with that, but that was an update that's going on with Grand Theft Auto 6 right now. If you're looking out for that game, you're just gonna have to be patient. If you just want the aesthetics, you're going to be patient for that game. If you're a real gamer and you really just want to get in there and kind of, you want to play the game and you don't think it's new anymore, I would definitely encourage you to try out the online and spend some time there, just because it's a real robust experience. And if you are wanting to experience that, that viral, server, realistic mod level Grand Theft Auto gameplay, I would highly suggest you, investing in a PC. Nothing crazy. You could probably spend $1,000 and get you a PC that could run a beautiful Grand Theft Auto mod, whether you're playing it just personally or planning on streaming it. But excited about the anticipation for this game. I know it's gonna do numbers. Even it's like PlayStation 2. Even it's like PlayStation as a brand. Like even non-gamers are gonna purchase it just to purchase it. So just wanted to throw some tidbits on the updates for Grand Theft Auto out there. Let me know what Grand Theft Auto got you introduced to the series in the comments, and let me know your thoughts on this.